Let me talk about acting for a moment. I studied first at the University of Miami. I was there for 6 months. I did a monologue, Friends, Romans, Countrymen, from Julius Caesar. Later I found out what the monologue actually meant. I realized it made no sense what I was doing, but the Fred Koch, I think his name was, head of the department, said, if you work hard enough, you could go anywhere. Did some summer stock locally outside of Pittsburgh. Got a letter of recommendation from somebody who liked what I was doing and flew out to Hollywood and met a top PR woman named Helen Ferguson, who said the following to me. She said, your impact on entering a room is as though someone just left. Okay. Then I auditioned for the talent program at Warner Brothers, and I was too naive to realize I shouldn't really play. I played the young fella in Tea and Sympathy, where we're not sure if he's gay, he's not gay, so I didn't know then that gay people can sound anyway. So I talked more in kind of in a lighter tone. I talked like that, and they said, have your agent call us. Well, I didn't have an agent, so I went to the Yellow Pages on Sunset Boulevard, literally, and looked up agents. And I told them I just auditioned. I got a guy on the phone, and he called and they said, really, have your agent call? He didn't know me, but he called the head of the talent department over there, a guy named William Orr, who was the son-in-law of Jack Warner. And I called him back, said, so what do they want to do with me? And he said, they don't want to do anything with you. They feel your quality is too light. I said, no, I was just doing that for the part. Well, nobody was interested in the explanation. Somebody who worked with me on that scene, Tea and Sympathy, said, I don't know why you're here. Why don't you go back to New York and study acting? So that's what I did. And I started, I did 3 years then with Uta Hagen, who essentially was a bully. There was not one thing she said, looking back in those 3 years, that had any value at all. What she primarily was doing was teaching us how to carry an imaginary suitcase, I'm not making any of this up, or open an imaginary window. And I was the only one in the class who dared. This started when I was 10 years old, and I was impeached as president of my 5th grade class by daring to ask questions. And so on to Uta Hagen in New York, same thing. Excuse me, why are we carrying imaginary suitcases and opening imaginary windows? She was so offended that anybody even asked her. I didn't know. I was serious. I was sincere. I wasn't trying. I thought maybe there's something I'm missing, because I couldn't quite understand how this was going to turn into that. And I later learned that there are certain people, she was one, and later Roman Polanski in the movies, they really resent if you ask them anything.